Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another episode of CasualCraft. I'm your host, RedRipz, back once again, Renegade Master, your Dreadlock caster. We're here today in episode 30 of CasualCraft. Now this is on Derelict Watcher, I believe, is this map, and we're actually seeing a non-ladder game here. They're both Masters League, I believe the description said, but against it's two Pulse clan members, so big shout out to Pulse, what up? How you guys doing? And welcome to CasualCraft. Now in the top right hand corner here we have MonstR, the purpley sort of colour Terran player in the top left hand corner here, and in the bottom, top right hand corner map here, that is top right, brother from another mother here, as I like to say, and in the bottom left we've got the sister from another mister, today's green Zerg player, Lucoda. Sexy, right? So we have these two guys on Derelict Watcher right here. We're going to be having a little ZVT game of two Master League players, so we'll have to wait and see how they're doing. They're obviously having some practice games against each other, and I guess they just decided that this game was good enough to submit. So hopefully we'll be seeing some interesting stuff here out of this game. Now, obviously, MonstR's not actually going to be walling in straight away. There's a spider that's gone right at the back of his base, so it doesn't look like he's going to be trying to wall in on a one base or anything crazy like that. And we're seeing the barracks down here front as well, all very nice. I guess he knows that Lucoda doesn't really like to rush. I'd imagine would be the case, as he's currently not rushing anyway. He's getting his crap together, and I'd imagine he'll be going for the hatch first now, since he's missed his spawning pool timing. And we should be seeing it. There goes the drone. He'll be going down for a hatch first build, and we'll be seeing a macro game out of these two players, it looks like, as we've not seen any sort of well, we're not seeing the barracks being proxied or anything crazy like that, although I guess it's still a possibility that we could have some cheese out of MonstR, but Lucoda's well past that stage of the game now. He's going to be moving into a much more economy-orientated build now. We've got the refinery down here from MonstR, the man himself, as he's just finishing up his barracks here, and he'll be moving towards getting the orbital command out, all the usual good stuff out of these players. Now, I've had all sorts of mixed reviews about TVP. I've had some people saying that TVZ. As I've been saying, some people have been saying that TVZ's basically dull and stagnant. There was a blog from MC the other day where basically he complained about it and said that essentially that each army only has one composition that works, and that's kind of the crack really with it. Not entirely sure I agree with that. I mean, obviously Widow Mines are intensely strong, and that's kind of the whole point of it. And they are difficult to deal with, considering you can just sort of lose all your banelings in one Widow Mine if you're not careful. But like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a broken matchup necessarily, and furthermore, I don't know if this is really the place to discuss it. So with that, we're going to just go back to watching the game here now. Don't listen to me talking about balance, because I'm really not someone who knows enough about that to make too many comments, as I'm not a professional player. So with that going on now, we're going to be seeing the Reaper coming over from MonstR here. He's going to be doing some scouting, seeing what the crack is in Lucoda's base, and just generally finding out what's going on. What do I need to be dealing with? Now, as ever, it'll probably be Ling, Baneling, Mutalisk, as that's the composition to be using up, but we'll see what happens. So we've got the Reaper coming in now. He's going to be hopefully picking off some drones, although with some micro, Lucoda should be able to save these. We're getting the first set of Lings out now. That's going to be turned right into a spine crawler then. We saw a little pause out the players there, but it wasn't really a problematic length, of course, in the replay, so that's all good and fine. We've seen the Reaper die there due to total lack of micro by MonstR, which is a bit of a shame, but you kind of have to do that with your Reapers. You have to micro them, because well, otherwise that happens and you lose them. And then you can come back twice as strong once they've got the amazing regen on that they now have since the launch of Heart of the Swarm. And now that the Queens are out, these single Reapers aren't really going to do that much. Queens are happy to deal with that sort of thing, as they simply don't fucking die. Having shit tons of health. So yeah, with that we're going to be looking back at MonstR's base. He's getting his 1-1-1 build out here with the factory coming down immediately behind his first barracks. He's not built any further barracks yet, and he's also getting his command centre down between the barracks and the factory there. Meanwhile, he's going to be getting a third command centre up here, so he's obviously pretty confident that Lucoda's not going to be doing anything too sort of all-in, two-base kind of Zerg business, especially as we're actually going to be seeing a third go down here now at Lucoda as well. So to be honest, from MonstR's point of view, this is exactly the right sort of thing you want to be doing, getting your command centres down nice and early if you can, getting a massive economy up, and then just churning out those Marines. Now we're going to be seeing some Hellions coming out here. There should be some nice Hellion pressure going down here out of MonstR, and really that's a lot of what it's about really when you're playing against Zerg. It's just trying to hold them up, trying to stop them getting too much of economy going too quick, so they can't overwhelm you too quickly with their massive army before you manage to get your own humongous force out. Now if we just want to back at the Zerg main base here, we're seeing all the injects going down. That's really nicely timed actually. He's using up all the energy on his queens there as he can. He's doing very nice. We're getting 2 extractors down here now. It's not a, it's a supply box situation, so we may see these cancel, but I wouldn't imagine it's about the time when you want to get double gas down really if you're going to be doing that sort of thing. So that's looking very good. We've got this base fully sorted out now, and same with this this main as well. So with that in mind, we should be seeing Lucoda move the excess drones and any new ones into this 3rd base, and he'll be just generally finishing up his economy, ready for a 3 base kill the crap out of our opponent type thing, which is obviously, I mean, 3 bases is about the sort of level you want. Any more than that, you've got a bit too many drones to make the army that you can sort of churn out, whereas any less than that, you don't really get to the supply cap of 200 like it should be. Now, we're going to see some Hellion pressure here. These might just be able to kill off the bloody creep tumor there at the front there, which is quite nice. That's all very good just before it finished spawning, but they're not really going to be able to get in as there's 2 queens in the way. I mean, they could probably just drive on past. There's not really any way of the queens walling it in. But until he's got quite a few of them, it's not something he's going to want to do. So he's going to be moving up now into the 3rd base with MonstR, having a look around. He's going to try to take out some of these creep tumors. He's going to get another blast on those. That's really nice. 2 of them going down straight away there. And with some micro, he should be able to dodge the queens and not take too much in the way of damage, although Lucoda is going to be very quickly putting down some fresh tumors there to revert the damage that was done then by the Hellions of MonstR. Now, Lucoda's got a 3rd up now. That's fully saturated as well already. He's going to be getting the 2 gas down here straight away. And we're seeing Ling Speed coming out. So we should be seeing a layer up before too long, as well as I've got the 1-1 upgrades coming out for melee troops. So I'd imagine we'll be seeing, as I say, Ling Baneling with probably later on in the Ultras, that sort of thing. It's usually the way you go with the upgrade path. Now, meanwhile, MonstR is getting out his Widow Mines, getting his Marines down, he's getting out all that good stuff. He's got 3 barracks down now and a starport up at the back, as well as the double engineering base. He's going to be rushing into the upgrades like he should be, all very good. And we'll be generally seeing the MMMM composition coming out here, which is Marines, Marauders, Medivacs, and of course Widow Mines. It's a little bit later than I'd perhaps like to have seen him move out for this with this command centre, as it's been done quite a while, although I guess he was getting the orbital command upgrade on it first, which obviously is the right thing to do. That should be fine for him. He just needs to make sure he keeps producing those SCVs, make sure he stays on top of that. All looking very good now. We're getting out the triple reactors here again. We've do the next upgrade really there, but we've just struggling a little bit for gas here, so just have to wait and see what our Terran player is going to be doing next. He should be sort of just getting his general forces together at the front of this, you know, setting out the Widow Mines and just putting his troops in behind that to make sure that he can defend against the any sort of pressure that our Zerg friend might put on. Now, meanwhile, Lucoda's going for a 4th. He's also getting a really good creep spread out across the map. I really like this, by the way. This is a nice and early creep spread. If we just zoom out slightly, we can see that he's got a huge area out the front of his base covered already, which is obviously great against any sort of Terran pressure. Especially this sort of thing, you can get your Lings in and get the really good surrounds on really quickly. As we're seeing here, we're going to be seeing this Hellion harass pretty much cleared up now by these Lings. I can't see this lasting too much longer, as long as we can keep microing out the way of the flames of the Hellions, and then they fall, and that's the end of that pressure there for MonstR. So Lucoda is surviving quite nicely there. We've not actually seen any workers killed for either side yet. MonstR is slightly ahead on the number of units killed, however these are slightly cheaper than his own units, so it's not too much of a differential there really for either player. If we just have a little quick look at the unit tab, actually notice there's a Spire coming out there for our Zerg players. That's obviously all very good. Yep, that's him in behind there, is it? No, where's that gone? Hang on, just find that. Where's he built that? Oh, it's on the back of his 3rd base, which I don't know. I don't really like that. I mean, I guess it's kind of hidden, so he's, MonstR's not going to necessarily look there. I mean, I had to go and find it, but it's perhaps not as well defendable as I'd like, really, for a Spire, as it's such an important building. You've got to make sure you protect it from the drops and stuff, and if it's right at the back of the base here, well, all it is just to fly a medivac in here, and you can just drop right away in there and kill that off with virtually nothing in the way of defence beyond this queen. So we're going to have to be quite careful about that in that sense, Lucoda, but he's going to be building his mutors now, so he should be able to keep that defended as long as he's got those out and some Lings relatively nearby. He also just needs to maintain his map vision, which he does have the Overlords for at the top end here, so that should be okay. He's also getting 2-2 out, all looking very good. We'll just have a quick look at the unit tab, like I was going to do before. We've got Lucoda slightly ahead on drones, as he should be. We've got a few more mules out for MonstR, obviously, which makes up for the drone difference. And usually you want to sort of transition into more mutors and less SCVs as a Terran player is usually the way to go, as it just allows you to get the much bigger army cap out. And especially on 3 bases now, fully mining, well, not quite fully saturated, he's working on that. We should be seeing the Terran's unit production really taking off here, as he'll be looking to fill up the rest of this supply deficit with Marines, Marauders, Medivacs, and all the usual business. Now we've got a second factory coming down here. This is going to get the tech lab on it, so we should be seeing some possibly some siege tanks out of here or something. Would be quite nice to see. Now we're going to see a little bit of pressure here out of Lucoda. He's going to have a little wander around with his lings. He's going to be taking down this missile turret at the top with his well, he's trying to take this missile turret at the top with his mutants. They did lose one, which is a bit unfortunate, really not ideal. Perhaps you've got a few more before rushing in, but you know, it was a good idea. Meanwhile, I've got the lings scouting around. They didn't really find much. They're just having a sort of a wander around, making sure there's nothing too lethal about. We have found a medevac there, although it looks like these mutants have been called off from the initial assault of that now as well. Basically, Lucoda needs to be really careful not to move over any of these mines with his mutants, and he should be okay. I mean, obviously, he doesn't know exactly where they are, but he should be aware at least that there are some mines there, so that should be good. We have seen the drilling claws upgrade coming out of MonstR as well, so he won't be looking to use mines most of the game, which is obviously really strong against Zerg, because they've got so many units that any sort of AoE such as mines just goes through them. So that's all very nice and well. Now we're seeing loads and loads of lings coming out here out of Lucoda. He should be getting more banelings on. He's got 12 in production at the moment there in the middle of this pack here, and that's going to take us up to about 22, I think that is. So yeah, it should be quite a nice little assault here. We'll have to wait and see how this goes for this. Now I'm not sure entirely what MonstR's doing here. I guess he's just getting rid of spare SCVs that he doesn't need or something along those lines, perhaps for scouting information, something like that. Actually manages to kill off a baneling there in the process, which is quite good. I'd guess that was just to get rid of those so that he can continue to mine out with the thickness of mules rather than anything too much else. We're going to be seeing an engagement at the front here now as MonstR decides to move out across the map. And he does lose a few units straight away to banelings there, but with some good spreading and back over these mines, we should be able to avoid this, and a lot of those troops are going to be dying, and most of MonstR's are going to be surviving there. So that was quite a nice little engagement out of MonstR. He did lose a few troops at the front in the initial bash, but he managed to get his mines buried really quickly and spread out his troops nicely to avoid the baneling hits, and in that sense was really effective. So with that, we're going to be seeing the mines moving on to the creep now. They're just going to get absolutely knocked out by the banelings. Not so bad there, not so bad. We're going to also try and clear the creep out here. MonstR is going to be doing. It's all very good. Seeing these banelings form up here now. I think we might be seeing the big assault here now as Lucoda's moving in here with his mutants as well, and a little push around there. Not really getting too much done there as we can see a little bit of baneling explosion down the front, but it's only little individual groups of men here, nothing too much here. And to be honest, I'd quite like to see Lucoda split his army and perhaps try and move around the back to get the flank on this, though. Actually, with the banelings down the front, while MonstR wasn't completely watching, I think it must have been away for a second because he didn't make his troops back at all. It does look like MonstR's going to be losing the vast majority of his army here as MonstR is going to be clearing this up here as Lucoda's going to be clearing this up on the far side of that there now as well. We do have quite a lot of mines down here still for MonstR, so Lucoda does need to be careful, make sure he keeps hold of this vision and doesn't lose track of the mines. But with most of the ground forces cleared up there now, it's now pretty safe for Lucoda as long as he can, as I say, just stay away from the mines, make sure he doesn't get caught by them, and he should be able to deal with this. Now we're actually seeing MonstR clearing out creep here as well. It's annoying as hell for Zerg players. But it doesn't look like he's going to be allowed to continue that too much longer with the push of Zerglings and obviously banelings coming behind that just to roll across and splash across everybody there on that engagement there now. So with that again, we've got MonstR coming back out of his base again. He's got a fresh little force at the front now. He's also going to 3-3. So these Marines are going to be absolutely ridiculous, getting lovely splits on there, making sure they stay well out of the way. Not really too many Marines taking hits there, and that's a really nice little engagement there for MonstR now. He's going to be pushing forward, clearing up the rest of these banelings as they form, and also taking out most of the mutants there at the top there as well. That was really nice. So with that, we're going to be seeing a hive coming out of Lucoda there as well. He's going to be getting on the third tier of tech here, so I'd imagine he'll be going for ultras before too long, especially as he's now got a fourth base up and he's mining the gas out of that. He'll be moving his main mineral line down there before too long, as he's got a few spare. Yeah, there we go. He's moving the last of his drones down there now. He's also got a fifth base hidden up at the top here. I don't think that. Oh no, we are aware of this, are we? So yeah, MonstR's seen this base there, so that's pretty good on his part there. We're seeing another little engagement here. The banelings rolling, absolutely obliterating the Widow Mines there. That was really unfortunate there for MonstR, as he lost most of his DPS in the form of the Widow Mines there. And just a few lings at the front will be able to activate the rest, and we're going to be seeing a big engagement now at MonstR. Oh, not quite now. I thought Lucoda was going to come and absolutely swarm in with everything, but he only brought a few things in and actually managed to kill virtually everything. It was quite unfortunate there for MonstR, really, as he did lose most of his Widow Mines in the initial engagement with the banelings. We're seeing a drop here at the top of the base for MonstR. Now he's going to be taking out this additional base. There's not really much that Lucoda can do to stop this without peeling away some troops to go and deal with that. And it looks like the mutants will be coming down to the bottom to try and pressure this third base here of MonstR now, as he will be moving out another command centre. I think this is probably going to be heading up for a fourth base up here. Yeah, absolutely. And that's all very nice. He's just watch this engagement. He's not quite going to catch up with that there. No, so that's all good. Looks like we're seeing some infestors coming out of Oh, sorry, that's not infested. That's Overlord drop upgrade. Wow, okay. So we might be seeing some drops here out of Lucoda. That would be really, really cool, especially if you can just get your shit together here, drop in up here, and then you just roll all over this this tech and what's left of the main mineral line. Now we're seeing a huge engagement here out of Lucoda and MonstR as the the Banelings absolutely roll over MonstR's army there. Well, the splits weren't quite good enough to avoid most of the damage there, as there was way too many Banelings, and with just a few troops left now, we're going to be seeing once again the mutants coming at the top of MonstR's base here, and they're going to be trying to do some pressure now if we just watch and wait and see what happens here now, as MonstR's going to be losing some reactors here straight away to this Baneling ball. We might see MonstR pull back, or we may just see him continue to dive on. I'm not sure. He does have quite a few Marines coming out, but they're not really going to be doing too much. They're going to be cleared up way too quick to really do any damage. I don't even think they managed to kill a Mutalisk there, which is quite unfortunate for them. Meanwhile, we're seeing quite a lot of pressure down the bottom end out of the MonstR here. He's going to be clearing out a lot of creeps and getting his Widow Mines down, and Lucoda should be getting some forces together to try and deal with this, but he's a little bit preoccupied with the massive ball of Mutalisks that he's got wandering around the main and now fourth base of MonstR here. And we're seeing the engagement down the bottom here as the Banelings come rolling in once again and clearing out so many Marines, and with the huge splits of MonstR, some of them survived, and we had a few Widow Mines survive as well, and actually looks like MonstR might come out slightly better in that engagement there than Lucoda did, although Lucoda does have still the supply advantage despite the the continued successful engagements. He's also got this Mutaball coming down now. This should be here to clear out what's left of this and hopefully get rid of these Medivacs as well, as they're an absolute pain in the arse and really need to be cleared out to continue with the success of this game. Now we're seeing quite a lot of pressure on this additional base here of Lucoda. We saw a couple of transfusions go down there trying to make sure it stays alive. It doesn't look like those Marines will be getting cleared up just before MonstR can take out the base. That was unfortunate there. Once to be honest, if it wasn't for the transfuse, we might have seen that base die then. That would have been really, really cool. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing the Zerg Melee 3 coming out, and also Adrenal Glands for the Zerglings there, so that'll be continued use of Zerglings throughout the game. Always popular with with every Zerg player. Zerglings, the ultimate Zerg unit. Absolutely brilliant. Now we're seeing a sixth base here out of Lucoda at the bottom now. Yet again, just looking for the gas, really, to be honest. I'd imagine he's got plenty of actually he's got quite a lot of gas out of them. We're seeing little engagements here as well, coming in, taking out a few Marines. Generally these Marines are just dying off now with the Banelings, and unless the Widow Mine can cool off, I think we might see these Mutants clear up the last of this. Not quite, although we've actually lost most of our Mutants there, Lucoda, so he's going to either need to build a whole load more, which he's doing. He's getting 11 more out now. Either that, or it would be checking into something else very quickly, because you really need those Mutants out for the air support to make sure you're taking out the Medivacs, and because if you let that Medivac count get up too high, it's you just end up getting screwed over. So looks like Lucoda will be morphing some more Banelings here, getting ready to move out, perhaps across these rocks eventually. Although actually with the rocks being blocked there, this is a little bit difficult. We're going to see MonstR be pushing through these now. He's going to take those out and try and move up, but he's going to find an absolute sea of Banelings behind it if he's not careful. So we'll have to wait and see how MonstR's going to deal with that. He's got more forces coming down, all looking very good. Marines flooding in from all angles, and with a little engagement in the middle, we're going to see the Mutants survive the Widow Mine hits there quite nicely. We need more vision down, really, and it's actually quite lucky that they've already tanked those, because we could have seen a lot of drones die there at this bottom base if our Zerg player hadn't already activated the Widow Mines. We're going to be seeing a little advancement from MonstR as well, coming out into the sixth base-ish, sixth base of Lucoda. Just allows to be falling. I don't think there's that much that Lucoda can do, and to be honest, I don't think there's much he wants to do either with these Widow Mines sat here defending this area nice and easily. There's not really much that Lucoda can hope to do there now. He's actually supply boxed as well, so he needs to get those Overlords out, really, make sure you're staying on top of that, because when you're losing that many to because they're your vision, obviously, you keep losing them to the Marines there, it's a little bit difficult. We're actually going to see this base fall as well here for MonstR now. Lucoda's really starting to lose a grip on this game here, as MonstR is really just pushing him around, making sure he's not keeping up these extra bases, and we haven't seen this Baneling pack do anything too much yet, as Lucoda's looking to gather his forces and I'd imagine try and squish these attacks before they damage him too economically. I mean, yeah, he's taken out 2 bases already, but luckily Lucoda does have this additional base at the top, so he should be okay for the time being, as long as he can get that gas income up and running again. Meanwhile, MonstR's just absolutely stacking up the gas here, so it looks like he's in it for the long haul, really. It looks like he can produce troops pretty much till the end of time here with this 3-base composition he's got going down. He will be looking to take a 4th before too long. To be honest, it would have been nice to see that down already, although Lucoda's continued suppression of that has been really nice. We've seen the last of the Marines cleared up there, and that was an unfortunately late scan, really. I think he might have just been trying to see what exactly it was that killed off his armies. I have a feeling he might not have watched all that. Meanwhile, MonstR moving out once again with fucking millions of Marines. Wow, man. That's like 75 Marines, 73 Marines, 72, something like that. so many Marines there for MonstR now. So as long as the splits are good, you should be absolutely fine. Just get the Widow Mines on the ground. Make sure you stay well away from that. And with a nice wide concave on here, we should be ready to deal with this. As the forces once again will be clashing on the front here. We're going to see all of those Banelings go in and absolutely sweep over the Marines. That was really unfortunate there for MonstR. Once again, he's losing troops after troops after troops for the Banelings just sweeping over everything. It's just really difficult to deal with unless you're splits around. You're actually ready and watching when the Zerg player comes in. And we're actually going to be seeing even more Banelings coming out of Lucoda here. And this just seems to be where most of his gas is going at the moment. Just straight into these Baneling hits, which are obviously so difficult to deal with. As every Terran player will tell you quite happily that splitting is one of the more difficult things to continually have to do throughout the game, especially when you get this many Banelings running in. And once again, MonstR's army is going to be absolutely falling. But obviously with Lucoda using so many suicide units, his army isn't staying too far ahead either. So really it's just a case of just clashing and clashing and clashing until someone runs out of resources at this point. Which at this rate, it looks like MonstR's going to be doing just that. He's mined out of most of his bases now. He's got basically one tiny little mining base. It looks like the last of MonstR's army will actually be getting played up here. And as he's running out of minerals, really not that much he's going to be able to do here to continue the game unless he can get another base down somewhere. It's actually looking really quite bleak suddenly for MonstR, despite his 5,000 gas that he's got mined up there. It's a little bit of a shame, really, because I want to see more out of him, really. And I've just realised that's why we got the tech lab to get the drilling claws. Now we're going to be seeing these mutants flying right across MonstR's base again. There's actually nothing really that MonstR can do about this at this point without putting his army back, and it looks like actually he's just going to straight up suck it up and lose as much of his tech as he can. Judging by his lack of response yet, as his Marines are all well on their way to the top end of the map to try and clear out this other base. And we're going to be seeing loads of these SCVs die as the mutants come right over and they'll be getting absolutely squashed by these Marines as they're microed across that. It's really unfortunate, really. I'd quite like to see Lucoda pull them back slightly. We're actually going to see the medivacs being taken out there as well. It does look like this additional base of Lucoda's isn't going to survive here as well. MonstR is just pushing out and pushing out now, as desperately trying to make sure that Lucoda doesn't maintain an economy into the late game, because basically at this point, if whoever continues building into their economy is going to win the game, because both players are completely mined out in all three of their actual mining bases, and Lucoda losing this one as well, although so many Marines going down there. That's really difficult for MonstR now. He actually doesn't really have an army left. He's basically left with, just have a quick look at the units tab. We have 8 Marines, 4 Widow Mines and 2 Medivacs to 32 Lings, 12 Mutants and 6 Banelings, which is an absolutely dire situation to be in when this is your only mining base. And with 47 SCVs on that, we're going to be seeing some interesting defences here, I feel. It's not exactly ideal here for MonstR, really, and he's actually GG'd out the game there now, and that's understandable. He fought long and hard, but his splits weren't quite enough to get around the relentless Banelings of Lucoda, and Lucoda was just allowed to get this base up and also this base and the one at the top here for just a little bit too long, which allowed him to sort of push ahead of MonstR. And meanwhile, while MonstR couldn't actually get this base up here, he really sort of struggled to maintain his economy and keep the troops pumping out, despite his 5,500 gas that he's managed to get together there. So yeah, well, it's another good game. It's to be honest, it's actually quite a more interesting game than I thought it was going to be. I'm a big fan of ZVT myself, but I kind of, a lot of the time you'll get one big engagement and then the Terran will just give up, whereas this game it was sort of continuous, and it was like you had the continued. I mean, we didn't see that many drops out of MonstR, but with the unless you can sort of multitask across 3 bases and stuff, and like make sure the mutants are only in one place rather than basically, if you're dropping in against Zergs now, you need to be dropping in several places at once, because the mutants are inevitably going to turn up and stop one of them. So for other places to work, you need to be doing several at once. And if you're doing that and trying to micro your Marines against Banelings at the front, I can understand he had a very hard time there that game. And this SCV count shows that he really didn't have any problems with getting his economy going himself. So it was really the Zerg players doing that stopped him doing such things. Now, well, it's great game. Lovely creep spread out of Lucoda there. I mean, perhaps could have gone a little bit further, but I think we actually saw most of that cleared up in the front by MonstR there as well. It's another good one, another ZVT. I've been RedRipz, your Dreadlock caster, back as the Renegade Master. Tomorrow I will be for another episode of CasualCraft. That'll be episode 31 now, as this was episode 30, I believe. So yeah, thanks once again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Let me know how I'm doing. Some feedback would be really appreciated. And GG, well played to both players. Thanks again.